Hey, hey, good evening. It's Thursday night. Hope you're all good. Oh, that's so strange. It's got a video of me at the bottom. Oh, what's that? Get rid of that. Hope you're all good. Share this challenge. Oh, I don't know what that means. So if you come on, guys, just give me a little hello. Let me know how you're doing. As always, I'm intrigued if you've had a nice beverage or if you've got any nice food in front of you. Leslie was eating a nice salad last time, wasn't she? Who have we got on? I've got one watcher. Give us a little like and a comment. Let me see that. Oh, it's Moira and Angela. Hello, Catherine. You's all right, ladies? Give me a little emoji to describe how you're feeling today. You've all been very quiet on today's task. I've been thinking about yous all and being like, oh, I hope they're okay. I'm going to try and drink a lot more water tonight. I was coughing all through the night. I must have been, just because I've been talking so much this week. Yeah, give me a little emoji to let me know how you're feeling. You're feeling great, thanks. Ah, that's nice. Ah, that's lovely. All very positive. Hope you're all good. Ah, you got your dancing shoes on. I love it. Have you had your dinner? Have you had anything nice? It's strange now, isn't it? Because a lot of people are like working at home. I think everyone's routines are all out the window, aren't they? I know mine is. Normally I'm like a proper early bird, but I've fallen into this pattern of like waking up about 7:30 and then having my breakfast and then not moving off the couch till like 9 o'clock. It's nice though. It's nice having lazy mornings. I'll have a little meditation or I'll watch something inspirational on YouTube or something like that. Go on, 10 what you've been eating. Make me jealous. I'm trying to eat clean this week because I've been having my turkey wraps with avocado and salad. You're on wine, Angela. Red wine. Bless you. I don't think any more are coming on, are they? Shall I just get cracking? Here's Marie. Hi, Marie. How you doing? Salmon and veg, not very exciting. Was it tasty though? I love salmon. Was it like a salmon steak? Love salmon. I did keto diet for a little while and that's all I ate. I ate loads of salmon. And you all right, Marie? Yeah, I loved loads of salmon because it's really rich in, is it omega-3 or something like that? Anyway, shall I get cracking? Okay, so today's the first time. Yeah, I love salmon so much. And I love smoked salmon as well, do you? Hi, Rachel. How are you, Rachel? Have you got a glass of wine or have you got a cup of tea? I'm intrigued of what everyone's drinking. I was saying I've been coughing all through the night because I think I've been talking so much. I'm going to try and drink loads of water tonight. So, hi, Jane. Jane, your comment. Oh my God, that was amazing. On today's task. Yeah, it's been funny all week. All the comments that have been like coming in. There's been like about 12 people doing the tasks. And a beer for you, Marie. Good. No, got to pick up Tal. I know Rachel. She's a friend of mine. Talia's a daughter. She's a good girl, Rachel. Show's got me back. Water for you, lol. Tomorrow's the last day. Can you believe it? So tomorrow is a bit like the closing party. So I might put a nice little dress on for you all tomorrow. You can wear whatever you want. You can keep your pyjamas on if you want. But I want you to try and see tomorrow as like a bit of a closing party and to celebrate. Hi, Louise. How you doing, love? I think Louise is poorly. You say you were poorly, Louise? Bless her. Jessica's on. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, all week I've been seeing your comments coming in, and it's funny because like there was like loads on the Monday, and then today, Jane, you were the only one who commented on your task, and I was like, maybe it would be helpful if I expanded on how you could like do today. I don't want any of you to be suffering. I was talking to one of my friends who's doing the challenge, and she told me, she said, it's not a joyful week, is it? Maybe I shouldn't laugh. Sorry I'm late, I haven't done the task, but I'm looking in. That's absolutely cool. You catch up when you need to. Just to give you all the heads up, the group is open till Monday. And technically I'm supposed to close it, but if you want me to keep it open a little bit longer, I will do. And also as well, just to give you the heads up, is I'm going to run another challenge in November from the 16th to the 20th. So if what I've found is some people like to do the challenge twice. A girl messaged me today. I won't say who she is in case she doesn't want me to, but she actually lives in Australia, which I find really flattering. But she said she had to go at doing the task the first time, and she didn't stick with it, and this time she's found it a lot easier. So if you do want to do it again, it's happening again in November from the 16th to the 20th. It's the same link. I've just reset the dates. So hop on if you want. And if you have enjoyed this week, or you do think it would be of benefit to anybody that you know, you'd be doing me a massive favour to send the link and telling them to sign up. So if you do, thank you so much. I'd be really, really grateful. It's exactly the same tasks, same lives, although the lives are usually different because I try not to come too scripted. So today's task was all about having a look at some actions from where your core values don't line up to the cornerstones. As always, keep liking and commenting every time something makes sense. And if you want any questions, just throw them in, and I'll jump to them when I can. So I was trying to think of the best way to kind of expand on today's exercise that might make it easier for you. And I called upon Sharon again. Remember Sharon, who I told you about the dentist? And I asked if I could use her example again, because she said she found it really useful. And I asked her what actions she had, because normally I don't get you to share them with me, but I checked in with her earlier, and I've had to go at filling in the sheet, so I thought it might be helpful. So I know that you've seen the sheet, but obviously that's kind of how it looked. So her, just to remind you, her core values were family, health/well-being, kindness, achievement/success, and then motivation. Now, just to recap again, even if you've got the same values as Sharon, they could mean something completely different. So what they mean to her is what they mean to her. That's her reality of her world, and your reality of your world will be, sorry to sound repetitive, but your reality, because it's all dependent upon your work and your family, your friends, and the experience that you had shape and mold the way you see situations. So I won't go into too much detail about what they mean to her, but when she kind of lined them up to the cornerstones of her life. Hi, Alison. Don't worry, darling. No problem. I'll just go through them. Can you hear my cat in the background? I normally lock him in the kitchen, but he's not very well, so I might have to bring him in. So on love and relationships, she said pretty much most of her values line up with them. She said, but she's noticed since she's done this exercise that sometimes she has certain groups of friends, because usually we all have different types of friends, don't we? And certain family members that lead very unhealthy lifestyles. And she's found that when she spends time with them, she subconsciously almost becomes, well, because we pick up habits all the time, don't we? You know, people rub off on us without us even realising it, because that's what we do. We all subconsciously compare and mimic because we want to fit in, because that's what happens when you're a mammal and it's a pack mentality. Does that make sense? So she said when she did this exercise, pretty much all 4 of her values linked with her partner and her family and her friends, but she just noticed that some of them did lead unhealthy habits. And like, so she'd find if she met up with certain friends, they'd automatically open a bottle of Prosecco, and she was like, it's fine if it's like once a month, but if it was like 2 or 3 times a week, she'd end up drinking even when she didn't mean to drink. Now, she also said that her partner isn't into exercise the way she's into exercise, but they very healthily respect one another's differences. So she'll never push him to exercise, and he will never say to her, why you go and running at 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning. He respects that that's her aspiration and her desire, and he'll encourage her to do it because he knows it means a lot to her. So they've got like that really healthy understanding of one another. Then moving on to like the fun and the life experiences, again, she said most of them did match up, but she found that she was the driving force. So if she was organising something with the family or with her friends, it was usually her that'd be, you know, the instigator. And she said that she felt like she might want to start taking a back seat, or she might want to start implementing more healthier activities. Then over to her health, mind and body. She's a very motivated person anyway, and you know, with achievements and success being really important to her. You know, she was very academic, she's done the degree, she's become a dentist. She's found that she's very positive and she's motivated, but she noticed that since she did this exercise that she's really tired all the time, and she wasn't really quite sure why. But once she realised that there was a gap there, she thought, right, something needs to happen for this, which I'll tell you what she did when we move on to the actions, which was today's exercise. Now, I've left the last one, the best till last, because it was her work. So the biggest problem area of her life that became highlighted through her doing this core values challenge was her work. So although she was living her dream job, being a dentist, she'd noticed that kindness is one of her values. She practiced kindness. She loves doing things for people. She only has kind friends and family, and you know, mixes with family that are kind. But what she'd noticed is because she was so kind in her own habits, the owners of the practice were actually taking advantage of that, and she was working way more than she should have worked. They weren't respecting the fact that she, you know, it was really important for her to see her family regularly. And also they didn't know that. There was never really an opportunity for her to communicate that was important to her in her life. So the biggest gap for her that she noticed that the values weren't lining up was her work. And she said it was such a shock because obviously most of us spend most of our time working, don't we? So that would have been her Wednesday exercise, task 3. And moving on to today's exercise, what I wanted you to do was start having a little look at, yep, it's contagious and proven. It so is, that we pick up each other's habits. I notice how I pick up people's accents dead easy, even though I can't do it. And usually end up sounding like African or something when I'm like, or like Norwegian or something, and it's like I'm with a Scottish person. It's funny how it happens, isn't it? So we know that work was like her, I don't want to say problem area, but it was her biggest area for room for improvement. Angela, so should we only be looking around the people who have the same values? No, not at all. It's just about knowing not to try and compromise your values. So I've got loads of friends who haven't got the same values as me, but I just make sure that I never compromise my values when I'm with them. And if it means me having to communicate it, then I will. So it's just making sure that you keep that backbone strong. Remember that kind of what we talked about, one of the superpowers, making sure that you always keep reminding yourself of what they are. And then if something happens or you're invited to something, you make sure that you don't compromise your values. Because what happens is if you keep compromising them, you're going to get really pissed off. You're going to become unhappy and you're going to become unfulfilled. So it's just making sure that you don't compromise your values. You don't need to change all your friends and family. It's just making sure you remain stoic. So where you peacefully and it's tough if you aren't naturally assertive. Yeah, I think it's a habit. So it's becoming more confident with the way you communicate. So it's learning to communicate that a little bit more, and it's just like, no thank you, I'm not going to come to that. Or spending time with people who have those habits and saying yes to them more, so your life's so full with those people, and then you actually haven't got time to see those other ones anyway. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So going back to Sharon's example, and I'll tell you, she said that she actually had loads of different actions, but obviously what I didn't want is for you to feel overwhelmed and feel like you've got like loads and loads of work to do. It's just being mindful that once you've become aware of habits, that's like once you become aware of an action, that's brilliant, because you remember what I said yesterday, you can't change what you don't know. So now you know it, you've got the option to change it. Oh my God, can you hear me, cat? Bruno! Shall I just bring him in? Come on. Come on. Come say hello. Are getting on the action? This is Bruno, everyone. He's bloody massive. I only adopted him about how long ago? About 2 months ago. But he's gorgeous. I love him. He's so cuddly. He's be all right now. He's sat on my knee, I think. So the actions that Sharon came up with, the biggest action was for her to start looking for another job. And she said it was such a I love your little heart-eyed emoji. He's gorgeous, isn't he? I love him. The biggest action for her was to start looking for another job. And she said it was such a shock, because she'd been with them for like 5 years. With the comments are so distracted, they're funny though. I know. So she's actually started looking for another job now, and she said she probably won't. She's actively looking, but she said she probably won't start lining up any new interviews until things die down with COVID, which makes total sense. But what she said she's really happy about is she's now got the confidence to clearly list, when she goes in for the interview, like questions for them, and like checking them out. Like, you know, when you go for a job, it's a partnership, isn't it? It's not all about you just servicing them. They're renting you to provide a service. So she said she's going to go into her interview crystal clear on knowing she only wants to work 3-4 days a week. She wants to make sure that it's got like a family feel to it. So ideally it's like a private practice, and they're big on family, and they'll understand when she wants to start her own family, see more of her partner. So she said that was amazing for her. And then in her relationships, the action that she wanted to take was what I mentioned before, was just kind of noticing the friends that she may have drank more than she wanted to with, and maybe just see a little bit less of them. She said she still wants to maintain those friendships, which is great, because we want love and connection, don't we? But then reach out to other friends who have a healthier lifestyle, who you know will influence you in a positive way. I just want to give you a little tip while I'm talking about that. I've studied loads of different things, and I've spent thousands of pounds and invested in myself and my qualifications as a coach and a mentor. And I've also invested in lots of coaching for me. So I've got 2 or 3 different coaches for different things. I've got one for my spiritual practice. I've got a PT. I've also got one that supervises me to keep my practice clean. And I've also got one that helps me reach my goals. Now, there was a guy who I followed for a little while called Tai Lopez. He's okay. I didn't reach him directly because he's somewhat of a celebrity, but I used to follow a lot of his programs and pay for some of them. And one of the things that I learned, which was I found really helpful, is when you look at your tribe. Remember I said to you about your tribe? No, your vibe attracts your tribe. Is first of all noticing you, taking responsibility for you, and noticing what you bring to the table with your circle of friends. You know, how do you want to nourish them friendships? How do you want to nourish them relationships, or the people that you want to see in your family? Like, how are you going to add to those ones that you want to keep, and making sure that, you know, they feel your love and all of those kind of, and they feel your support. Now, if you are someone of a growth mindset, I am, and I'm guessing some of you maybe because you're on this challenge, you're looking for ways to improve yourself. Think about the people that are in your tribe or are surrounding you, and almost think about like 3 sections. So one section is with people who you know you can help. So even if it's maybe people younger than you, or, you know, whoever it is, but you've got a set of knowledge, skills and knowledge and wisdom, and there'll be people who you can inspire and teach and help. Then with the other section, look at people who you feel like are equal to you, like your peers, who you think, you know, we can support one another, we rub off on one another, we listen to one another, we spur one another on. They're like your cheerleaders, they've got your back, you know, and making sure that like you're spending a third of your time with them. Now, the other third of your time is looking at people who you aspire to be like, who you have admiration for, who you think you can learn from. So when I was saying about, you know, when people rub off on you, if you've got friends or people, or even people that you don't know, maybe it's people you follow on social media, maybe it's groups that you need to get into, but if you see people and you go, oh my God, I love the way they live their life, or I love the way they implement health habits, or, you know, execute their business, or communicate, or whatever it is that you're looking to improve, find somebody who's good at it and spend a third of your time with them. So does that make sense? So it's like out of the 100% of your time, if your people you spend, and split it into 3 areas. Otherwise, what will happen is, if you're always helping people, you'll never grow and you'll just plateau. If you're always spending with people the same as you still won't really grow. You might grow a little bit because they're cheering you on and that kind of stuff. And that's great. And obviously we need our love and connection. We need our supportive circle. We need our network, don't we? To feed off one another and learn from one another. But the people who you aspire to be like even if like negative emotions come up, like, you know, jealousy or envy, or like you go, oh God, I feel like I've got loads of work to do. Just embrace them and be like, okay, what can I learn from that person? Like, how can I watch them? Or maybe I could ask them for like a cup of tea, a virtual cup of tea on Zoom or something like that, and ask them for some tips. So yeah, that I love that. That really helped me when I was like looking for ways to grow. Now the health and body, her action was to get blood tests done, because she'd been noticing she'd been feeling really tired, and it was actually really good that she got that done, because if you remember me telling you, turned out that she was had a cholesterol problem, and then had vitamin D deficiency. What did you say, Angela? Really, that's why I hate feeling inadequate. Do you mean the people that you learn from? Is that what you mean? I suppose it's just, you've just got to reframe it in a way. If you're always surrounded by people who you think are thriving more than you, then yeah, you might feel a little bit inadequate, and then that's why you need to spend time with people who they can help or you feel equal to. But spending a third of your time with people who are thriving from you, then you learn from them. It's reframing it into, this is an opportunity I can learn from these people, as opposed to I'm less and they're more. It's how you frame that reality. So yeah, just making sure you kind of balance those 3 pillars. But send me a DM if you want, and I'll check in with you and give you a few more pointers on how you can reframe that. Or maybe I could do it tomorrow on tomorrow's live if you wanted me to, and then everyone can get in on it. So yeah, so she got a blood test done. She found out why she was so tired. She's low on vitamin D, and she was needed to look at her cholesterol, and she's only like 28 as well, and that was all off the back of work and too much. Then her action for fun and experiences was, she's noticed that she was the instigator for doing all of those things, but she said she wanted to include more health things, like going to Delamere or walking the dog, and practicing more kindness for herself. So she said, off the back of learning things from the live, she said she was going to take herself on more dates and like give herself little pamper treatments and that kind of stuff. So they're the kind of actions for you to have a little look at. Does that make sense? Has that helped at all for today's exercise, if you felt like, you know, it was too much? I hope it has. I'm going to move on to answering your questions in a moment. What time is it? 5:02. Got a thumb up. That's cool. Great. So tomorrow's exercise, you're going to be a movie maker. You're going to be creating a mind movie. Have you ever heard of a mind movie before? You might have done. Maybe it was called something else. Yes, Louise. Yes, Rachel. Awesome. So what I want you to do for tomorrow, once you've finished, yes, I always complicate things. I think women as general, well, maybe that's an unfair thing for me to say. We tend to be overthinkers anyway, don't we? What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So out of all of Sharon's goals that she picked for all of her 4 areas, she picked the one goal of looking for another job. So what Anika, nope. I don't know what you're saying, nope to. Nope to, it didn't make sense, or let me know what it is that you want me to elaborate on. I know. Won't in on it. So tomorrow, you're going to pick one of your goals and you're going to create a little script on as if that goal has come true. So, I mean, I explain more on tomorrow's video when it goes live on the power of your imagination. So if I was to say to you, I want you to imagine that goal as though it happened, there may be a few of you that might go, oh, I don't really have a good imagination. I don't know how to do that, because sometimes that happens when I've got clients. And what I would like to say to any of you that are thinking that is, do you imagine bad things happening? Quite a lot. I think all of us do from time to time. It's like a survival thing, isn't it? And usually we've just it's a fantasy, isn't it? We've like created it in our mind. So you have got the power of imagination, really, when you think about it. Or if I was to say, imagine going on a holiday to like another planet, like which planet would you pick and what would it be like? Would it be fun, or somewhere in the world you've never been before where you can't draw from your memory? So it's accessing that kind of like fun side of yourself. Now, it might help for you to go into doing the meditation again, just to get yourself into that relaxed state. And an easy way to describe the script as though your goal has come true is think about your 5 senses. So you've got your sight, your smell, hearing, saying, and touch. So I've got, the sheet looks like this, and basically I've got questions that you can answer that'll help you form your script. So pretend you're, who's a good movie maker that you like, a producer or a director. Pretend you're whoever it is that you like. I nearly said Steven Spielberg, but he only writes horrors, doesn't he? We don't want you to write a horror. We want you to write a really happy movie. So it's like, well, when this happened, what would be the ideal date? When that goal is met, where would you be? What can you see? What's around you? Who's there? What would you be wearing? Would you be wearing a different outfit? Would you be smelling something? Would you have like a special perfume on, or a cologne, if there's any men watching this? Would you be holding anything in your hands? What would the expression be like on your face? What kind of things would you be saying? Would you be saying like, you know, would you be cheering? Would you be like whoop wooing? Would you be having a conversation with somebody? Who would you tell? What would be the benefits of this goal happening? And then most important question is, what would you be feeling? And when you describe those feelings, so what happens is when you've got this script and you've got it, you'll notice changes in your body. So the body, so if anyone's ever heard of NLP, as you know, I've told you before, I'm an NLP practitioner. It basically stands for neuro-linguistic programming, and it sounds really fancy, but it's not. So neuro is obviously brain, linguistics is language, and programming is how do we program the beliefs that we've got in our brain. And it's usually from the things that we're saying to ourselves or the things that we've observed, and then we put these beliefs into our subconscious and then we act out off the back of them. Now what happens is when we think about these events, or we think about what could happen, the body doesn't know the difference from what's real and what's not. So if I was to say to you now, have a little go with this. Imagine there's a lemon, hold your hand out in front of you, and imagine there's a lemon in your hand. Can you feel the texture of the lemon? Can you feel the weight of it? Can you feel the temperature of it? Now I want you to imagine putting the lemon down in front of you, and with your pretend knife, cutting it in half. Can you smell it? Did you perhaps feel any of the zest spray over your hand? Now what I want you to do is imagine picking up the lemon, sinking your teeth into it and sucking on the juice. Now, did any of you experience that go fizzy, or your mouth salivate, or the bitterness, or the over tartness of it? Hopefully you did, but it wasn't real. That was your imagination, and it was all a fantasy. So what happens is when you imagine something good happening, you will experience good emotions. You're laughing, Louise. Did you feel it, or did it not work? But that's the power of your imagination. So what happens is when you come up with your movie for your action coming into fruition, I want you to think about it. I want you to close your eyes and have a brilliant fantasy about where you'll be, what you'll do, who'll be there, and just really like bask in the joy of it and the fun, and just be like, yes, 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 yes. And just really have a good time with it. And then once you've mastered it, I want you to repeat it as many times as you can throughout the day. Like, really enjoy it. And then what'll happen within your brain, now this is where the NLP comes into practice, is if you think of your brain with all of it, like a tree, all these different like branches and pathways all spraying off, they are all habits and learnt behaviours and thoughts that you've thought over and over and over and over and over and over again. And some of them aren't even true. They're just things like maybe worries and that kind of stuff. And then it becomes a habit. So if you're a really big worrier, it's just that you've become really good at it because you've done it over and over again. It's just a habit. Ow. He's got his nails into me. Now, by you playing out this fantasy and this mind movie and this imagination, you are going to create branches like the tree in your brain. And what happens is the more you think about it, the stronger the branch becomes. And then what happens is, if you believe in it or not, have you heard of the law of attraction and the law of vibration? You almost become like a radio antenna, where you almost become like you receive it like a radio signal picks up the radio waves. You like manifest it into your I've got to go. No worries, my love, you go. You receive it and you manifest it into your life, and then it can actually come into fruition. Because whether it's magic or not, whatever it is that you want to believe, your brain has become alert to opportunities that then link to that fantasy. So you'll now start seeing things that you weren't seeing before that line up with that dream, imagination, fantasy, mind movie, whatever label you want to put on it. So that's tomorrow's exercise. Give me a little thumbs up if you're looking forward to doing it. And I'm going to move on to your questions. I've been a bit naughty, haven't I? I've ran over the last few nights. It won't be much longer now. Cool. So I just want to say a massive well done to Jane Kelly. If anyone didn't see her comment, I'm going to read it out to you. Whew, got all hot and bothered thinking about the excitement of tomorrow's task. Look how shiny I am. She said, well, this has been an interesting day. As health and well-being is now my main priority value, I am on a mission. I have just turned down an £800 booking and will also turn down another £750 booking, smiley face. Why, may you ask? Because these jobs aren't aligned with what I want to do, and I will be so stressful that they will eat into my life and end up with me working for about £2.50 per hour. So yes, money is nice, but it's not when I don't get to enjoy them and then feeling resentful. I have also set a goal not to work Sundays starting this Sunday. Thank you, Karen. Yay! Can we all just clap for Jane? I love that. I'm absolutely buzzing with that. think that's just fantastic. And that's the power of knowing your core values, is because you make a decision based on whether it's going to compromise them or not. Okay, right, I'm just going to move on to the next question. Oh shit, I didn't write that down whose name it was who put the question. I'm so sorry. Was it Catherine? I am sorry. You just put, sorry I'm a bit late. Is this something you think I have to work on constantly? Example, I know I work twice the hours I should be working, but sometimes I think I'm the problem. I have to make a conscious effort to rest, stop, and get out of my own way. Well, obviously I don't know. When you said, is this something I have to work on constantly? I'm guessing you mean the core values. Do I have to work on my core values constantly? In answer to that question, oh yeah, hi Catherine. In answer to that question, if it is in relation to your core values, once you know what your core values are and you become really confident in them, they should feel easy. Like Jane's the perfect example. That was easy for her to turn down that money because she's now confident. The backbone strengthened, she's become stoic, and that was easy for her to say no to them. So once you're clear on your values, whatever your core values you've now got, what I want you to do is start testing them in your environment, and then when they're confirmed to you that's what you want to stick with, then they'll become easy. Now, I just want to move on to the next part where you said about working twice the amount of hours. We could spend hours going into this, but basically it's what belief is it that you have that's driving this behaviour? So I've noticed that you've said you're working twice the hours because you think you should be, and it sounds like no one's telling you to work twice the hours, you're just doing it. So what I would encourage you to do is explore the belief that's driving the behaviour. Now, I used to have this problem when I had when I was running that agency. I had a limiting belief that if I wasn't thriving and doing well, I wasn't worthy. I was not a worthy person. So I applied every single bit of my DNA to that job, even though no one was telling me to do it. I was working weekends, I was getting in the office at like 8 and then not leaving till like 9 at night, which resulted in me having a burnout and a breakdown. But that was my limiting belief that was driving that behaviour. So now that obviously I've overcome that, so I would encourage you to explore what is the belief that's driving the behaviour for you to overwork. Once you've discovered what that belief is, challenge it as much as you can. Like, look at the two sides of the coin. How is it serving you? How would your life be if you didn't have that driving belief? Where did the belief come from? Is it something you picked up from somebody else? Is it something that you've installed in yourself? And a big question is it true? And a lot of the time, these beliefs aren't true. We've made them up ourselves. Once you've done that piece of work, I would really encourage you to find a new belief, to replace that belief, and do what you can to implement it. It's not an easy task to do, and this would be something that if I was coaching you, we'd spend a couple of hours really going deep and digging into it, because sometimes these beliefs have roots, don't they? And we've got to really yank them out. But just challenge that belief. Is it true? Is it something I've done? Is it something I've just implemented into myself? How is it serving me? And how would my life be if I didn't have that belief? And what new helpful belief can I swap that with? So if you want me to, I've wrote down those things that I've said there. If you want me to email, put them in a direct message to you, just prompt me tomorrow and I'll do that for you. So I think we're coming to an end. I've answered the questions. I've recapped on today. Oh, Bruno. Oh, Jesus, he's spiky. Got you excited for tomorrow's challenge, I hope. Fear of failure, yeah, it's a really common one, isn't it? Do you know what's really interesting? What I've found with some of my clients, some of them are scared of success, so they end up sabotaging things. We've all got our own things going on. It's crazy. Tomorrow's the last day, So for anybody who hasn't entered into the competition, so you might not have seen or not, but I sent out an email, I think it was at the beginning of the week, saying if you fill in this questionnaire, you'll be entered into a competition to win a coaching session with me, which is normally £100. I think there's about half a dozen people in there. If it's not too late, if you want to enter into the competition, all you've got to do is fill in a questionnaire for me. So if you want to enter, send me an email or send me a DM with your email and I'll send you the questions, and then you've just got to get it back to me before, ideally before 3 o'clock tomorrow, so that I can put all the names in a hat. I'll shake it about and then I'll pick a winner out, and then you'll get a coaching session with me. Coaching session lasts between 60 minutes to 75, and we'll go through one of your goals, and hopefully we'll really get deep into it. So anything else? Talked about the recap, talked about tomorrow, talked about the questionnaire. Just want to say get well soon, Louise. How funny that it's come up for you whilst you've noticed that it's one of your core values. Anybody who wants to sign up for the next challenge in November, please do that as soon as you can, and tell all your friends and family about it. And I think that's it for me. Anybody got any questions? I'm all hot and bothered now. I might have to go for a run. Fireworks are going off. You hear them? Silly, all the silly fireworks start going off now, don't they? Oh my God, I went for a run the other day and these kids were bloody throwing them. I absolutely shit myself. I thought they were going to hit me. Yes, thank you all so much. Thank you for sticking with it. I think you've all been amazing. I got a bit worried today when no one commented on the post. I was like, oh no, I hope I haven't lost them all. But I hope that you do it and that you have some fun tomorrow's task. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the closing party. So thanks very much. Have a good evening.